You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a comedian, believe it or not. People would argue that I am not, but I am, and I have been for 35 years. People laugh at me and sometimes with me. And I am a former registered nurse. I sound really Ozarky when I say registered nurse. I used to work as a nurse, and I give keynote presentations about the power of humor. I studied therapeutic humor for the last 3 years. I got certified. I'm a certified humor professional, and I do have peer-reviewed studies to back that up. Back that humor up. Okay, here we are. It's mid-December. We're heading into the shortest day of the year. Again, it seems like I just was saying this the other day. My dad always told me it goes faster and faster. The earth does not spin any faster, but I guess it's the percentage of years I've lived, and each year represents a smaller percentage. I don't know if that math tracks. And I hope you're doing okay out there. I want to redirect you to your inner light, your beauty, and the infinite light that you can channel through the top of your head, through the top of your heart, the top of your feet, maybe from the bottom. I don't know. I can't stand on my hands, so I'm not sure. But I want you to remember your light that is infinite and always there. I want to thank you for being a part of my healing journey with Traumedy. This has been helping me. I love these conversations I'm having that I would never have if not for this podcast. And I don't know that I could do this podcast if I didn't think at least a couple of people were listening. So thank you for listening. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments or feedback. I know I have some messages in my inbox that I cannot find. If I did not get back to you, please message me again, because I lose stuff in the metaverse. I cannot find messages, show up a year later. Also, go through my website, nancynorton.tv. Those messages I will be able to find. All right, now this episode deals with ketamine treatments, and it's intense at times. I'm not a ketamine expert. I've never done ketamine or administered ketamine. I know very little about ketamine, other than I've had friends tell me that it has helped them with chronic depression like nothing else would help them. And so just wanted to let you know that's what's going on this episode with the very funny comedian, one of the nicest people I know. All right, welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is a comedian, a podcaster, and a beautiful human.
Aww.
Please welcome AJ Finney in the house. Woo! I know we have the laugh track. I never know what button.
Yeah.
This is better.
It's one of the buttons.
And his beautiful wife is here knitting, holding space. We're all from the Ozarks, so we're doing a little Ozark Reiki up in here. Marciana, or Marcy Finney is in the house, depending on how you know her. I'm still figuring that out. I'm hoping to transition into the Marciana intimacy level, but we'll see. I don't want to be presumptuous, you know?
Yeah.
So thanks for being here, Marciana. Yeah.
Ozark Reiki sounds like what you do with leaves. I'm sorry.
I like it. I like that so much. I'm going to use, can I use that?
Yeah, you got it.
Because I do this thing in my act right now where, you know, the whole thing with Traumedy, taking your pain and play with it. And right now, at this age, I'm watching myself decompose while alive. Like my face, I just found out I have osteoporosis, so my bones are going hollow. I'm turning into a bird. You know, the hawks that I call have, you know, hollowed my bones. And anyway, I'm like, I don't feel confident I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm not going to use a comforter. I'm just going to cover myself in leaves. I'm going to do some Ozark Reiki. If I die in the night, don't worry about it. Just put me on purple flowers.
Yeah.
Human compost.
That's great.
It's adequate.
Yeah. I do like the idea of being composted.
Yes, I just learned, and this is truly a sacred share because my friend, I just found out yesterday, her beloved partner passed away yesterday.
Whoa.
And she is being water cremated. I know we're getting into heavy stuff so quickly.
Yeah.
But she's being water cremated, which I had never heard of. And it's like be a tree cremations. And have you heard of this?
I have. Marcy and I went through a whole bunch of stuff because they had a booth at Frozen Dead Guy Days. So we talked to all these people that you had several different ways. You could be composted into dirt. You could be composted. I guess it's the liquefaction.
Okay.
And what you could do is have your essence. You get like a 5-gallon bucket of your essence. And what he kept saying was it's amazing. You use a dropper because there's so many minerals in it. And you put it in your plants and the plants love it.
Oh, maybe that's the one that she did.
Yeah.
She's having her water cremains distributed at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was beautiful. I mean, it really moved me. Like, that's beautiful. And I mean, I like this idea of the mushroom, the mushroom coffin, where the mycelium. I used to have some land up here in Sunshine Canyon, and I thought, can't you just lay me out for the buzzards? Because, I mean, depending on... Well, I want to hear. Let's get to know you, AJ Finney. We got right into the death of the leaves. It was the leaves.
Yeah.
I am, the ADHD brain. It just like as soon as you say leaves, I got to share.
Yeah.
But the thing, I mean, I didn't know you when you're from the Ozarks. I'm from the Ozarks. You're quite a bit younger than me and came up maybe a decade or so after.
Yeah.
When did you start?
I started in 03 in Kansas City. And then we moved to the Ozarks in 2011. So we were there from 2011 to I moved out to Denver in 2016, and then Marciana came out in 2018.
Wow! So where were you raised?
Leavenworth.
Really?
Yeah.
Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah.
Did your folks work at the prison or?
No. My grandfather was a Marine and was last stationed, I believe, at Fort Leavenworth. And then they just stayed there.
But that is a big prison, right? Leavenworth.
Yeah,
it's kind of
several.
famous. It's a famous the prison town.
All the old westerns are like, you're going to end up in Leavenworth.
You're going to end up in Leavenworth. You keep this up.
When I was a kid, because it's on Metropolitan, and it's got the dome on the top of it that reminded me of the White House when I was a kid.
Oh.
And there was this... I had this drive to like make your mom proud. And I remember being like 5 or 6 and not knowing what that building was and telling my mom, I was like, one day I'm going to end up there. And she goes, I'm afraid you will.
Were you a wild kid?
Yeah. I mean, I was never, I don't think bad, but I was definitely out of control. Like the ADD or whatever it was, they had no idea.
Spirited.
Yeah, spirited, very spirited.
A word Marciana was using earlier when we were talking about me getting fired from a HOA board.
Yeah.
I was too spirited.
Yeah.
But what do you think about, like, okay, I really want to talk spirituality with you because I was thinking about reincarnation and your soul agreement. And I know you've done a lot of psychedelics based on your material that I have heard.
Yeah.
And you're not doing any more drugs, or are you doing?
Right.
You're not doing psychedelics.
So it's psilocybin is kind of in the wheelhouse, I guess you would say. And I did ketamine, and we'll probably do ketamine again in January-ish. I do that like once or twice a year with a doctor.
And a controlled environment as a therapeutic dose to help with all the, a lot of us have anxiety and depression and stuff like that. I don't know. You don't have to share what you're doing.
I'm pretty much an open book. Yeah. I mean, I deal with a lot of that. It's anxiety and depression, potential bipolar, like there's lots of stuff. But what I've noticed is after one dose of the ketamine, there was just this, everything was more manageable. Yeah. And I'm on Wellbutrin also, which, I don't want to be on that forever, but.
So the goal would be to hopefully get off of the Wellbutrin so that you can be your authentic self.
Yeah, and less
be okay.
Sweaty, just less sweaty.
Wellbutrin makes you sweat. I never knew
so much.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm on 300 now, and they tried to put me on 450, and it just did not.
It was too much.
It was too much. Like I want to say it was. I mean, the material that I do about this is obviously enhanced, but I want to say it was like 3 or 4 days on 450, and I woke up and I almost didn't know who I was. Like I was so numbed to the world and just wet.
That's I'm wet and confused, Doc.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you're in a pool."
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, because I know I've known a lot of folks on Wellbutrin. I don't know. I mean, as a nurse, I should know more about it, but I know, like, for my friends, because I've done psilocybin and MDMA, psychedelic trauma therapy with a therapist, helped me more than anything. I did EMDR and I've done other trauma therapies, but this really helped me break through some walls that I couldn't quite break through.
That was what the ketamine did for me, was that, and I tried to do it in a different way. So I do the intermuscular where they give me the shots in the arm. And I didn't believe them the first time when they told me it was a 4-minute onset. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, this is going to be like 15 minutes. But after 4 minutes, like, I could feel it. And I was like, whoa.
Wow, that is interesting. Because as a nurse, when we used to do IM, intramuscular injections, it would take a little longer.
Yeah.
But man, it must have just got right in the bloodstream.
Real quick. And I want to say within 5 minutes, you're starting to kind of you're just starting to lose it, kind of. I would watch the room dissolve, which to me was important because I didn't want to, I don't know if it's a Midwestern thing where it's like, I don't want to pay for this and not get it. And so
that was one of your qualifiers. Like, I need to be completely not in this 3D.
Yeah, I needed to. Yeah, because when I did what they call troches, which is like a mouth lozenge, and maybe that works for other people and that's great, but I couldn't get past the wall. Like, I'm so good with keeping up the barrier and the veil, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've had that since I was a kid. So like, once I go, oh, this is me, nothing's getting through it. But with the ketamine, that was just obliterated.
You could not overpower that.
Right.
You could not cling to the surly bonds of reality.
Yeah.
You really couldn't overpower that.
No, it was this
medicine.
like, whatever you want with your ego, there's nothing. And I mean, I really got rocked one time when I went in cocky with it. So it was pretty traumatic. Like, actually, I could send that to you if you want to hear it. You have an audio recording. I recorded all of them. They didn't tell me I couldn't, so I wanted to know what was going on.
So you just hit the voice memo on your phone or something, or you just took it?
Yeah. And Marciana was in there. I had a situation where it had been like over a year since I had done it, and it's tough to listen to, like, but it is
because you're terrified.
Oh yeah, like there's a moment where I went, stop. Okay, slow down. Nope. And you can hear verbally, I'm going, okay, no. And then, so I'm externalizing in the internal fight.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you what was going on inside, and then when you listen to the audio, you'll get it. But I had gotten to this point where, and if you've done psychedelics to where it feels like a download, like it's the best description I have. It feels like there's an information download. Yeah. And so I'm getting the information, and it feels, I'm not trying to code it or figure it out. It's just like in my brain, I'm going, this is tangible. Like, I get this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We are human.
Yeah.
I know. And we're not trying not to be human, but we're trying to recognize, I mean, do you have this belief that we are spiritual beings having an earth experience?
Yeah.
Or do you have, am I putting words in your mouth?
No. I firmly believe that. And I don't know what I really am, but I feel like I
love your humbleness. You are very humble about it.
Well, there's that element of like, we're all interconnected. Like, I firmly believe that. Like, no matter what it is, everything that has some sort of spark of life inside of it is connected to us somehow in this web. Like, I don't know if you've ever like smashed a bug and then immediately felt bad.
Oh, I have a whole thing about bugs that if I accidentally vacuum something, I'm like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I leave towels in my sink when I go on vacation because I've come home with dead spiders in my sink upside down, and I'm like, okay, I gotta leave a way to get out of the bathtub. I gotta leave a way to get out of the sink.
So great. I wish I could. I wish I was that good.
Oh,
like,
no.
there's some stuff like hornets and things like that. If I can't get them out of my house. And
dude, I had to kill a wasp nest in my mailbox pipe. That was, I know I killed the queen because they kept coming back. I would knock the nest, and I know she was down in that pipe, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I felt so bad.
But there's there's a risk. There's a danger risk
I
also.
know. Well, that's right, because I can't. That's not fair to my mail carrier to sorry, buddy, you're gonna get stung when you give me the mail because
Better not be bills.
I'm an animal rights activist, so you have to suffer. I mean, it is isn't that a nuanced thing of like. I relocated 30 mice, as I may have shared with you.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a big job. My son is going to go to therapy about that for a long time. At midnight, we're driving mice to the country, to a fort that I built for them and dropped off gerbil food. It's a long story, but there's an insanity. No, but I also had this thing, like one of y'all crawls across my neck or my face in the night.
Yeah.
Traps are coming. Like I really did set a boundary of like, you get in my bed and run across my face, I'm snap traps are happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like we were talking about plants and stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We love, and then all of a sudden we're like, murder.
Yeah.
abort. Marciana and I were saying like the spider plants that are so prolific.
Yeah.
And you don't know where to take them. And then some days you're like, composting isn't that bad.
Yeah. By composting you, we'll give you back to others.
Yeah.
You try to justify it.
Yeah.
When it's really just.
But back to you.
Yeah.
I totally took away. Yeah.
No.
We were saying, so have you ever smashed a bug and felt bad? But
Yeah.
I could have just said yes. But no, I had to
that wouldn't be you.
That wouldn't be old Nance. So
But yeah, so there's that empathy. But what had happened is I'd gone through like 7 or 8 of these sessions. And then for a year, didn't do it. Everything was fine. And then chose to take the trochee with my therapist. And everything was great. I just have that tolerance that it wouldn't. And I think I did the trochees twice. The first time I was like, I don't think I did enough. The second time I did the max dose and it still got me right to the wall. And it was just like, you can't let go. You're still holding on to this.
Yeah.
Like I was still grounded. So I'd gotten to this point in my head where I was like, oh, I mean, ketamine's, it's nothing. It's just not doing it anymore. And so at the time, my max dose was 120 in the IMs. And I went back in a year later and she was like, so where are you at? And I was like, well, I had done like 120 was my max. And it's been a while, so I don't want to do all that. And I think they had given me 110 maybe, that's a pretty big jump. So to give you an idea, they titrate you and you have to do 7 at the beginning to kind of build a tolerance and figure out what your dose is.
Okay.
So I get the shot and everything is fairly normal. Like I'm starting to drop in, everything is fine. And then I'm starting to get the information, and you're in these worlds of texture and colors, the best way I can describe it, because there's not really form. And if they are, they're very geometric, like a stained glass window kind of.
Okay.
But there's movement, and these things are moving like a pinwheel. And so I'm trying to understand what's going on, and I'm going, okay, like I get this, like this isn't, and then it starts moving faster. And then there's a felt sense of like information coming down. And as it's like speeding up, it starts normal and then starts to build, and it's going so fast that it's just confusing. And it's almost like you're on like a tilt-a-whirl or a merry-go-round, something it's just,
yeah.
You've seen every horror movie where you're like watching it and it's going faster and faster. And you're just like, okay, wait, if I could just get a second to breathe, we can get back into it. Like, I'm not afraid. I just need a second, and it won't. Every time I was like, hold on. And as soon as I said that, it was like.
And that's the session you recorded that you're telling me about?
And this is the one where it went. Ketamine just goes, oh, I thought you had everything. I thought you were, I mean, for lack of a better, I thought you were coming in with a big D energy. I thought you had everything. I thought you understood it all. Like, oh, and Nancy, when I tell you, it grabbed me like a kitten by the back of my neck and shook me because I was like, well, stop. And they're like, oh, we're not doing that. And I was like, come on now. And then it was moving so fast that for a split second, it felt like a blackout where I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then in my head, I saw an old, like 1980s computer screen. It was just, there was nothing else. It was just a computer, like a desktop. And I kind of would start to zoom into it a little bit, and then I could see the screen, and it was binary code. So the kind of like the Matrix, just binary code running down.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, now I got something to focus on. I can calm down. And the binary code in the computer just kept speeding up. And I was in my brain, I was like, that's too fast. It's too fast. The computer cannot handle that. The information's coming too quick. It got to the point that it was just like blurs and blurs. And then there was smoke just started coming off the computer. And when that started, I was like, the computer's fried. Like, it can't take that. And my brain went, that's your nervous system right now. And then I snapped. And I just like, oh my God, stop. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done this. And you hear that on the thing. And I'm like reaching for Marciana, and I'm crying. And
okay, we're going to play a little clip right now that Marciana recorded when AJ was going through his ketamine treatment. Again, this is just one person's experience, and we are not experts on ketamine, just sharing an experience. This is peer-to-peer sharing. We are not experts, so we are not prescribing. Talk to your medical doctor if ketamine is right for you. And just trigger warning, it is very intense if you need to skip forward. Okay, because it really, I mean, it's visceral, very intense. So if you don't like hearing people scared out of their mind, terrified, skip forward about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. On my timeline, it ends at 24:37.
here it is. Do you hear that? So this is... Okay. Okay. So stop. Stop. Help me, please!
Right
I love you! Oh my God! Why did I do this?
Hey, you're completely safe right now.
Oh no! No, please!
AJ.
I'm sorry!
AJ.
I'm sorry! Oh my God! I'm sorry!
Take
I'm
some
sorry!
deep breaths
I'm
with
sorry!
me, okay?
I'm sorry! Please let me cry. I'm sorry. Marciana, please. I'm sorry.
I'm right here, sweetie. You're okay. You're okay.
I'm sorry.
You're okay, sweetie. I love you. I love you.
I'm sorry.
Sweetie,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm sorry. This is
Okay.
the part where I start coming back to.
Oh, that
You
wasn't
can see the breathing.
That was Marciana saying I love you, not the nurse.
Yeah. No, the nurse was like, come on, you're ruining it for other people.
Oh, because you're in a clinic and other people are here. Oh,
Yeah.
that's like being at the dentist and screaming, Oh, wait. Oh, was it still going?
I paused it.
Oh,
It's like, I mean, that's the epic part.
wow. That's not going to be an advertisement for ketamine treatment.
No.
But did that, I almost wanted to reach out and hold your hand while we were listening to it.
It's tough. Like, I think.
You got a little choked
yeah.
up.
Yeah, that might be the first time that I think I've listened to it in its entirety. Usually I get started and then I just shut it down. And
Dude,
so I was fighting.
I wanted to reach across and like hold your hands and be like, because you can remember it.
Oh, yeah. When the nurse is in the room, something didn't go well.
Oh, no. It wasn't that the nurse caused something to go wrong. It's just she comes in because, we need to manage.
We got to figure out what's going on. Because the only other time a nurse had come in was one time I stood up. And they're like, you don't stand up, sit down. And I was like, okay. But yeah, she came in and it was like, she was there and she was like trying to pat my arm and tell me everything was okay. But and I was literally trying to crawl out of the chair to get a hold of Marciana because it felt like to me that I had one opportunity to say I'm sorry that I had done this. I was so adamant about doing this, and it had gotten a hold of me so much that I felt like I had been broken to the point that I was not gonna get back. There was a moment also where I had seen like myself inside of like a glass, I want to call it an observatory, but it was like a psych ward, but you're glass so that people can see you so you're not harming yourself. But I was in a wheelchair and nonverbal, and like then I could see like my family looking at me, and all that was like I had basically made myself catatonic, and that was kind of when I started coming out. I just couldn't handle it, and the feeling that I had made a decision, that had done something, that I had just created a burden. Like I am now a burden on my family because someone's going to have to take care of me. Someone's going to have to do that. Like there was so much that happened. And, within 20 minutes after that, I realized that it was all my nervous system. It was all psychological. None of it was permanent. These are all rules that that any psychonaut, anybody who takes psychedelics, we all agree to these rules. Like what you're going to do is observe something. Maybe you take something back from this. You're looking for a felt sense of everything being okay later, but you surely don't believe that everything that is going on in that world is real. And I forgot all those rules. I forgot that it wasn't real. I forgot that I shouldn't be fighting it. But
that was the whole point of this powerful medicine, that you dissociate so far that you're not in any of that. You're not having the experience of being, observing. You're like, you are in it.
Right. Yeah. And it was.
And be like, because you can remember it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then it felt like a lifetime. Like, so every time it's happening, like there was a part where I was like, when I was saying that I shouldn't have done this, like that was the part where in my head, I was in that like weird
permanent
insane asylum.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was talking. Like I was thinking that. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have. Yeah.
And you're a whole, because it's the time it's a whole lifetime in like in seconds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. But listen, let's tell our listeners, like if somebody's considering ketamine and they hear that, you think, I'm afraid I don't want them to be like, I don't want to, but you're saying it's worth it to do it.
It's definitely
even
worth
if
it.
I know I saw that on 60 Minutes years ago when people were doing the psilocybin journey, and even if they had a bad trip, they still said they would recommend it.
I also want you to know that was my 9th experience, and I've done, I think, 10. The other 8 were fine. Like that was, I know why that happened. One,
because you were so cocky about.
I was so cocky about it. Like I had this mindset of like, this doesn't work anymore because I'd been doing the trochees. And then, I think because I hadn't done the IM in over a year, going down.
You took a little too much.
Yeah, because I was going back to like my max dose that I was doing.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, and
instead of titrating it.
Right, and when I started, they started me at like 30. So you go 30, and then you just start to build up from there, or 60, I think maybe is where I started. So yeah, if you were thinking about ketamine, don't take that as as that's going to happen to you. Like, I do it with a doctor, and they're going to start you at a very small dose. I think 60, and it's, that was very soothing at the early stages, and I just had to build up because I felt like as I acclimated to the world or whatever, I wanted to go deeper and deeper, because sometimes I would drop in and it would feel like I was in this world for a few minutes, and then I'd come out, and then I would get upset that I dropped back out so soon. And then so on heavier doses, what happens is you'll drop in, and then it just holds you in that position for a while.
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you for sharing that, but that is intense. And Marciana, I don't know if we can get you on the microphone, but you were sharing, like, as the wife who cares a lot about him, like, because I was worried about you as well, because like being there firsthand, and there's your husband.
Yeah,
crying
but I mean,
for
like
help.
he purposefully did. I mean, it's just when people drink or do any sort of mind-altering substance, they made a choice to do this, and you just know it's not going to last, and you're the sober person there, right? And I don't know, in that moment, it was kind of like, I'm not a mom, but you just go into mom mode where you're, somebody's freaking out for no reason. You think about a 2-year-old who like fell.
2-year-old?
I'm sorry. But you know what I mean? Like a little kid who's crying.
A helpless person.
Yeah, who is crying for whatever reason. And you're like, it's going to be okay, bud. Like that's kind of where my
So
brain
you didn't
was.
really get scared. You're
I
like,
wasn't
you
scared
knew
at
he's
all.
You knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew he was fine. It was just he was having a moment of feelings. And I feel like also men don't really have moments of feelings very often.
Or don't show their feelings, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, like
In our culture.
Yeah, but like I've been with another friend and held space for him while he was doing ketamine, and like AJ is way more open to these kind of otherworldly experiences where like ketamine doesn't always allow for that, just depending on who is doing it, so that's the thing. Like my other friend who did the same kind of thing, the whole time he was just very reserved, and like I don't think he disassociated. I think he was just very relaxed the entire time. So just depending on who, what, where, when, why, you know,
right.
Like people can have vastly different experiences with this medicine. So it's kind of unpredictable. So
And maybe in some ways predictable, like with psilocybin, they'll say, well, the medicine will show you what you need to see.
That's exactly how I think ketamine works too. It's just shorter, like 45 minutes.
Wow.
And since he had done it so many times and I recorded it every time, I'm like, yeah, he's up. He's up
and you're over there just knitting.
I'm over there just like yarning and crocheting, doing whatever, and I'll just be here, so.
Have you also done it?
No.
Not your thing.
It's not that it's not my thing. I just, it's expensive. There's a lot,
There's a lot. Okay.
There's a lot. So
you don't have the need isn't up enough to spend the money to do it.
Yeah,
because I thought insurance covered ketamine. No,
it did.
It did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. And then they didn't. So
I didn't know that.
It is a bit of an investment for that. And I feel like, me personally, I feel like mind altering substances aren't my way of doing things. I'm much more into meditation and other ways of altering my perception of reality.
Yeah, because you said you have a spiritual life, and you sense the beyond the veil.
Yeah.
So you have your own.
Yeah, my own thing.
You got your own thing. Well, we're gonna interview. Tune in again for another episode with Marciana Finney, because we'll get you interviewed, because I want to hear. I love ghost stories myself. That's one of my favorite things of all time. Any closing remarks that you might have, AJ?
I played that for you kind of as a result because of traumedy. Like that was something that stuck with me for a long time. But I don't want people to believe that that's what's going to happen every time.
Yeah.
You know, that's really important. Like, because there was a lot of benefit from it that I got from every experience, even that one.
So in your experience, the benefit is, does it decrease your anxiety? Does it increase your aliveness? I don't know what the opposite of depression is, but I'm guessing being in the present moment, feeling creative and alive and okay.
I felt less tense in general, like where you walk around kind of like just kind of flexed a lot. Guarded. And so I didn't feel that. And I know with a lot of different psychedelics, you have that afterglow day, but I definitely felt that with like the ketamine. The next day I was like, oh, and it really felt like I could like take a deep breath just in general, where you're just like, ah, and things that seemed unmanageable seemed manageable, where it was just like sometimes life, I was like, I got to do this. I got to get this done, this and this. And I know when I need to go back to the clinic to do it again, because those things start building up again.
And looking around my house right now, my sign of trauma is clutter. And it's like, I know I'm overdue to also do a reset.
Yeah.
Because I'm back in some old neuronal pathway survival trait patterns. I know that about myself right now. I've got a trauma that's up I have to deal with, and it's time. And that's what I hear from a lot of people is like they do it maybe, whenever it's up, but like quarterly or twice a year, something like that, just to kind of just to remember who we are, our authentic self. And I just want to say right now, I kind of wanted to take a deep breath with you right now, just to kind of like do a parasympathetic nervous system reset and then hold it. Because there's something about that box breathing, where you go in for 4, hold it for 4, out for 4, hold that for 4. Let's do one more. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a little afterglow now.
Yeah.
All right.
After that, I was so soft and humbled. Like that I was like, oh, that was part of it. Like I had to go through that to get to this. The beauty of it was that I started to realize things in my life that were important that maybe I was looking at and going, oh, they'll be here later, or I'll deal with this later, and I got to focus on my stuff. And so it kind of, I think it just kind of put life in perspective to what was important, and maybe readjusting my my mindset.
But every time I've hung out with you, what I've noticed is you have a great deal of concern for others.
Yeah.
And I would love to go back to your childhood stuff about being kind of a wild kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to even say, but as a kid, when you're telling your mom, like, I might end up there. Yeah. And she's like, I'm afraid you might also. But was there a sense that you got as a kid that you had a huge amount of responsibility to make sure other people were okay?
Oh, yeah. I can answer that one very easily. I was the oldest, not the oldest just in my family of 3 children. I was the oldest out of all of my nieces and nephews. And we were an Irish Catholic family. So like my aunt had 3 kids. My uncle had like 5 kids, and then had kids with another woman. So we had a very large family. And my grandmother, at one point, she told me, and this is unintentional also, I love her.
Okay.
She's no longer with us.
Yeah,
but she was like, you just have to remember that everything you do, these kids will do as well.
Because you're a role model.
Yeah. And I think she thought she was saying that as a way of like, you're the oldest, so what you do, they're going to want to follow in your footsteps. That's a lot to take on at around 9 or 10.
That's a huge amount of responsibility.
Because you don't, and I mean, I definitely messed up. I definitely did things, but I had one cousin who I smoked pot with for the first time when I was younger, and unfortunately they kind of went off the deep end, and I wore that burden for a while. I was like, oh, because I did it. And I mean, I want to say it was like maybe 6 or 7 years ago that I finally came to terms with, oh, that was going to happen whether I was involved or not.
Yeah.
Like that
was their path.
Right.
That was their way of coping with whatever they're dealing with.
Right.
But you're able to forgive yourself, or nothing to forgive really.
Right.
But be able to see the truth of it.
Yeah. Probably like a good 80%.
But yeah, I was going to say, I bet it sounds like there's still a piece there, that's like, Grandma, I did my best,
Yeah.
like you're allowed to be human, you're a kid, we're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to push the limits and see where the edges are and stuff like that. But I would say, if he did really follow you, he'd be doing a lot better right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's true. That is true. But
So that-
the funny thing about people that end up like on the street or really deep in like drugs, like to the point of addiction and problems. A friend of mine told me one time, there was a book, and I don't know what the book is, but it was, we all choose the levels of our life. And these people we feel bad for, but they've chosen a more advanced level of the game than we have.
Well, you know what? I have said this before. Again, I got the truth chills. It's like they're a lot more courageous than me. I know that. Anybody that has let go of like having a house, having the security that I need to feel okay in the world. Like I have a lot of control issues that make me feel safe.
Yeah.
And people that are willing to be at the mercy of another person on the streets or somebody giving them some food or the drugs that they're kind of in and out. I agree. There's like, it's a different soul agreement. Like, and in certain cultures, these are the shamans, that if we would go and talk with some of them and not, I don't know. I know there's a variety out there of people. Like, I'm not telling people go talk to your nearest unhoused person.
Right.
Because one of my former housemates, he struggled with alcohol, and I'm trying not to. I just did a conference, with the Power of Humor presentations I do, and I did it for the Northern Colorado Rethinking Recovery, and they taught me nomenclature, like not to say someone is an alcoholic or an addict. It's like, it's a person forward. It's a person who struggles with alcohol addiction and a person who struggles with this. But anyway, point is, he struggled with alcohol, and that was one of our deals. He lost his sobriety, and he had to move out because it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And the next time I saw him out here in the Greenbelt, and he's trying to convince me to vote for Donald Trump. So I'm like, I'm not saying he's a shaman, although... I mean, maybe there's something we don't know. I do wonder about the big wheels a turning with what's going on in our bigger picture. Like, sometimes I'm just like, well, maybe it's all supposed to implode anyway, and this is a pathway to the empire falling, and we all, we stole the country to begin with. That's the way I make peace with it. We stole it, so we deserve whatever we get.
Right.
Okay, that's a little bit dark, but all right.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, okay, so that stress, that power that you're like, oh, I'm the big role model. But when did you start using humor to cope with some of the stresses that you grew up with and some of that pressure that's on you to be the role model and everything to kind of offload maybe some of that?
So it's interesting. The first time I can remember doing like comedy or anything like that, I was like 6. Something like that. My mom were babysitting kids in the neighborhood, and all the kids were kind of sitting in a circle. We were probably doing like a duck, duck, goose thing for a little bit, and then that got boring.
It's only so many rounds of duck, duck, goose.
Right. There's only so many gooses. But I find this fascinating, but I was doing impressions at the time to entertain the kids, and I was doing it at the time, an impression of Mr. T, who is popular, and this is probably 84, 85, something like that. I was doing an impression of Mr. T and Pee Wee Herman.
Wow.
Right? These two people.
You combined them.
Yeah. Well, I would play the different characters. So it was Mr. T and Pee Wee Herman getting into a conflict. So they were going to have a fight. And what I find fascinating looking back on it is at that time, with that young age, my brain still realized that if I have Pee Wee win, it's much funnier.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, the underdog.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. T. And
yeah. I pity the fool.
I pity the fool. Like,
I know you are, but what am I? Like, I don't even.
Come on, Cherry.
Yeah. Oh,
I love that.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that you recognized, like, I'm doing a show, and these kids they were captivated, like enjoying it because it's like they know these characters because they're
well, and some of them were young enough. I don't even know if they knew the characters, but you're doing voices and playing the actions, and they enjoyed that. And then aside from that, like a lot of my family was very funny, possibly dysfunctionally, but you know,
right. I know, right.
As like Irish drinkers and stuff, it was always like my dad or uncle, somebody holding court and telling stories. My Aunt Michelle used to tell me just adult jokes. Like she used to tell me these dirty jokes at Christmas.
She get a little tipsy.
Yeah.
Aunt Michelle.
Oh, she loved it. And I would laugh and I'd memorize it. Like she'd tell me, and then in my head I'd be like, okay, it went like this and this, and then the punchline. And I would be at school as soon as we went back, just lighting the kids up.
After Christmas vacation,
Yeah.
we can't wait for
Old Finney's
AJ.
jokes.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I remember getting in trouble also. It's weird when I look back at my history because there's a couple of like weird time gaps, but I remember being on the playground. And so I want to say maybe this is somewhere between maybe third or fourth grade, something like that. It was young. But I'd gotten a copy of Eddie Murphy's Delirious on cassette tape. And rest his career, Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we knew about the roofies.
Right. Yeah, and it sucks. I separate the art from the artist in that. I can't.
It's so hard, isn't it? It's such a drag.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a betrayal of trust that happened, like with Woody Allen too. I loved Woody Allen, and now I'm like, I can't even.
Right.
I
and
can't
it
even
stinks.
enjoy it at
But
all.
I do tell comics, like I do, and this happened kind of with Louis too. It's like I respect what their art taught me.
Okay.
But I can't respect them as a person. Does that make sense?
It absolutely. And
like I can't support anything they do moving forward, but I also can't erase what I learned just by understanding their art.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's so weird. And it would be different though. Like, I'm not into cancel culture. Like, I've talked to some of the guys in our community, and I'm not going to name names. It doesn't matter. But I just like, I'm just like, guy, I'm about restorative justice.
Right.
Like, but if someone's capable of it, if they're a sociopath, or a psychopath, like if you're doing, I don't know if Bill Cosby could really make amends for what he did. I don't, because he's denying it. Same with, all the people that have denied, and I get it because you don't want to be in prison the rest of your life.
Right.
But if somebody truly made amends, like on a deep level and meant it, I could see the growth. I could celebrate their growth. Yeah. I don't know what Louis C.K. is doing right now. I can't look straight at that. Well, I can't look straight at anything. Yeah. With my eye. But anyway, so you were talking, back to you. So you're on the playground. I mean, it's like third or fourth grade, and you're got the Delirious album. Yeah,
which I just found to be, I didn't understand all of it, but I will tell you and that special doesn't really hold up. A lot of it does not hold up.
Okay, yeah.
However, there are two things that I remember. One is at the end of that special, once he starts talking about his uncle and his family and the barbecue and all that, that taught me something where I was like, oh, you talk about your family and maybe some of these dysfunctional events, but by being vulnerable and talking about this and then maybe enhancing it a little bit, there's humor.
Yes. And there's relief or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, or empowerment. I know that Jose McCall was on last week, and he was talking about how comedy defangs things that are intimidating or hard.
Yeah.
And sort of like his thing was like with poverty. He grew up feeling real, he's just really poor and not feeling poor. He was poor, and people made fun of him at school for being poor. But then he learned from comedy, watching comedians. But he was just saying, like I got to see them take their thing that made them vulnerable and exploit it to a point of being like, I'm so poor, and he took his power back that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was true for you. Like, it sounds like with alcohol, I mean, in my recovery work, that might be considered a dysfunctional family, but I don't want to say, I mean, it's just typical. It's something we grew up with.
Yeah, I think it was
time.
Like, I grew up with a lot of, there was a lot of shame about not being kind of a beefy alpha male type. Like that was,
and I bet especially as the eldest, like you're supposed to be the dude.
Right. And my dad was like a tough guy. My uncles were tough guys. Like they would go to bars if like mouthing off, and then you got into fist fights, and that it just wasn't me, which made me feel by no means I think of their like they didn't make me feel that way necessarily, but it was just I felt inferior.
And somewhat ashamed, it sounds like.
Shamed, and yeah, just like also like weak. Just like, and I also didn't like confrontation a lot. I mean, I'll stand up for myself now and others and say things as I've grown the confidence to be able to voice my opinions. But when I was younger, like I turned a blind eye to lots of things because I was like, well, we'll just deal with it later, because that's how I dealt with if I gotten in trouble and my dad was hollering at me. I was like, well, I'm not going to talk back. Like, I don't see the point in it. So
Right.
I'll just deal with this later. And if I don't say anything, the hollering or whatever is going to stop. And like, this is going to be like a 3-minute situation.
Yeah.
If I decide to mouth off, this is probably going to last who
gonna-
knows how long.
And escalate.
Right,
That sounds
right.
really wise. It's sort of that phrase you just said, deal with this later, comes back to the after the ketamine, where you were saying, like, I'm not putting off like loving people or something like that. There's
Yeah.
on the other side of that coin is like, you were like, oh, I will have my time to show, I don't know.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know if I let you finish that earlier. Because
No,
the things that you had been putting off that
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't.
Well, and it was what it felt like was, I mean, I don't know if it was the kind of dissolve or kind of the deflation, I guess, of my ego, or that self-driven thing. Because for a lot of my life, once I got into comedy, for sure, I was like, no matter what happens, I keep doing this. And people are either coming on board or they're not, but I'm not letting go of this because this is the one thing that will never leave me.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, and comedy's this way, where it's like, oh, once you make an achievement, you never get to the end. Like, you just
Right.
get to a thing, and then you're like, oh, there's another achievement I have to go to.
Yeah.
These never-ending achievements you keep.
Or
Very cool.
trying to set these goals. I've been, of course, I'm of an age where I'm on the, like, I'm just like, I'm sleeping under the leaves. But I was thinking about life purpose, and trying to, like, now, like, I say a little prayer before I go on stage, let this be for the highest good, let them leave feeling better than when they walked in. And
Yeah.
I mean, my ego's still in there. Don't get me wrong, man. I hate the idea of bombing, or I don't want them not to like.
hurts.
I want them to like me. Don't get me wrong. There's still that part I started doing comedy because I loved that positive attention and feeling known, heard, and celebrated, all that. But I love being of service. Like, I feel like this podcast feels like a calling to me because I just want to help heal myself and others. That's my mission statement.
Yeah.
And then once I get focused on the service, then I'm not, my ego, it's still in there, but it
Yeah.
quiets it. I'll just say that, it quiets it. How about you? Like,
I
do you feel it's like part of your calling?
Yeah, I honestly, I felt very connected to what you just said, in the sense that there's comedy, right? And there's obviously an ego inflation to part of it. Like, when you kill, you get off and you feel great. But when you turn that into, like, I allowed people to not think about whatever's going on in the world for a little bit. Like, that's the big picture right now. Like,
Okay.
outside of the stage or outside of the club, there's a lot going on in the world.
Right.
And so whether it's a film or a live production, for 90 minutes, we have an opportunity to not have to think about that.
Take
And
a
then
break.
afterwards, you get back to your problems. And that's, sometimes I think that's the magic. Like, we have that opportunity to gift a relief. Like, we get to go on this little vacation together, because when they're in it,
yeah.
they're in it. Like, everyone's connected. And when you get into like a really good story where you can hear a pin drop and you know the punchline's coming, it's the best, because then they're
Yeah.
with you.
Like, you're having a shared experience.
Yeah.
I love looking at it like it's temporary art, where we're building a sculpture together.
Yeah.
And we can't do it without the audience. I mean,
No.
and we're doing it. It's like, I like it. The space between us is what I think about as the sculpture,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's too weird, but I love that experience as well. And just knowing, I mean, I have all this other stuff right now with my crybaby badass trauma therapy. I really am like, I just now started loving myself for the first time in my life. Like really, like truly, like feeling a warmth inside where I'm not ashamed of who I am. I mean, I almost could cry about that.
Yeah.
But I want people to love themselves. Like I say that out loud. And I'm doing something weird. I'm getting into some preachy stuff on stage these days. Like I just want y'all to start loving yourselves. Because that's the thing I don't want to put off.
Yeah. I have this thing that I say at the end of the shows lately, and it's been so great. And this woman in Springfield, but
I want to talk about that because that's like, okay, but first, what does it usually do at the end?
At the end of the show, like, and I mean this, so it's not a scripted thing. And every night it changes just a little bit, but for the end of the shows, I typically end by telling people, I'm like, hey, I know we've had a lot of fun. I hope you've had fun. And I hope that at some point this evening you've found joy. Like, and it didn't have to be me. It could have been one of the other comics. But at some point tonight, I hope you found joy in what we brought to you. And I hope I can speak for all the comics, but for me in general, I know that like if you found joy, I want you to know that joy in turn brought me joy. And the beauty of happiness is that it's one thing that doesn't deplete when we just give it out. And we should just give it out as much as possible because it just multiplies. And so there's this ever evolving rotation and recycling of joy. You're happy, which makes me happy. And this happens and happens.
Yeah.
And if you found that tonight, I ask that you don't have to remember the material. You don't have to remember anything, just the feeling, and hold on to that for as long as you can and take it out into the world and just give that out. Like that's where we need it most.
Ooh, I love that.
And it's, I got chills right then. And it's
that's a life purpose.
Yeah. It's my favorite part of the show.
Spreading joy.
Because we forget. I think we forget as comics that we're not battling the audience. We're not out there to fight them. We've
nothing to prove.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, most of us are out there because we seek attention and love that was void at some point in our life. Yeah, that's it. And I don't really get off on being mean to people. Like some people are great at it. Like I'm just not.
That's not you. That's not you. I can enjoy it in a roast.
Well, yeah.
And then I feel bad. But then I kind of feel bad. Like, ooh, I think I really let that part of me, my shadow self or whatever, that little angry little kid, like my inner teenager, her name is Virginia Vengeance.
Yeah.
So she loves, she kind of likes coming out sometimes, but I don't know if she needs to as much because I'm starting to advocate for her better. But back to, so this is what, last time we were just, we were at the holiday party.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking and you were saying like that you showed me these messages from this woman.
Yeah.
And that's my hometown, Springfield, Mo, you know, I just know some of the mindset there. And also the idea that you're there to spread joy can sometimes trigger people who are very attached to not being happy. Like I ran into this recently when we were watching the election return, and a friend of mine and we were trying to make some jokes, and this guy got so upset with us because it was like, you have no idea. And I'm like, but you know what? But we still have a right to be happy, even when the shit's going down around us. If we're not. But so tell me,
Yeah. To talk about that, I wrote something on Facebook, and boy, like I had to not look at Facebook. It was the day after the election, and I realized that a lot of people that maybe are on one side that were saying, can't we just get along? And that wasn't what I was saying. Like mine came from my heart, and it was just like, I know we can't get along. Like I know that none of us see eye to eye right now. I just hope that we can find a way to like live and love each other and basically use compassion as a shield to deflect all this and move forward. That's it. And I know what side I stand on. Right? Like I'm not fighting for the evil side. But man,
you got so much pushback.
People hated me for him. And I was like, what is happening?
I know the feeling. I actually got some pushback too, because I was like trying to like, hey, look, just remember you did your best. You fought for love and connection and, you know, like trying to share compassion.
Yeah.
And yet that was triggering for people.
It was.
Like, I know one person was so like, get your hippie shit out of my
Yeah,
face.
I
And
got
don't
that.
even, like, I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Yeah.
These are not mutually exclusive things.
No, it's also what I was trying to explain, I think, and that I still believe this. And I do want to say this, like, I hope that what I think the future holds, I hope I'm wrong. Like, I would love to hit an opportunity 4 years to go from now to be able to go, boy, I misshot that.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but that's kind of a weird hope. And I firmly believe that hate, anger, and division is what put us in the position.
Absolutely.
And so,
Which was all part of the big plan to begin with, divide and conquer.
right,
And I kept saying that at shows, going, it's not coming from inside the house, you guys. It's
right.
That's the oldest trick in the war book is
Yeah.
divide and
It's the
conquer.
old Trojan
So-
horse.
yeah. We fell for it. We took the bait so easily.
And well,
Anyway.
and when people were like,
Again, we stole the country, so we deserve it. Sorry.
oh, and there were people that were like, nope, this is how they won, so this is how I'm fighting back. And I was like, I understand, but I also think that that's what they want. Like, I don't know how to get this across, but the way you would remove a person like that is you just don't give them any attention.
That's it.
And gosh,
No,
if
no.
that person had no attention,
100%.
brr, 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 brr.
No, they literally, my sociopathic, actually, I think psychopathic ex, because I have a type. My therapist just told me this last week, goes, Nancy, I've seen people that run across one of these, but it's like, it's a sign of your childhood that you attracted, like many psychopaths. But 3 of the people who I stopped giving attention to, you know what? They died. And it's really like they live on our energy, and they
they're
get
energy
and they get
vampires.
fuel from cruel too. It's not
Yeah.
just love. It's not just love. They actually almost get more fuel from when people hate them.
Yeah.
They actually get that fuel from cruelty and fuel from hate. And it's like, just like you said, the best thing you can do is ignore, but
Yeah.
good luck. It's unfortunate, but yeah, I'm trying to like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm trying to just redirect my thoughts. And the one thing we have control over is right
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
so
That
I
was
know,
like what-
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, that's
100%.
what Ram Dass used to say. He goes, the only thing I can do for you is to work on myself.
Yeah.
That's it. And it sounds greedy, but it is true, because if you're grounded and braced up and full of love, that is very addicting. Like that
Yeah.
feeling when you see someone smiling with joy,
Yeah.
it's hard to want to stay in the cold shadows.
I loved watching
know?
that documentary of his coming home. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Where he's dying with bliss.
Yeah.
He's out there kind
in
of
the ocean.
just
he's got
kind of,
the
yes,
wings.
just kind of barely able to keep himself afloat and just blissed out. And one of my favorite Ram Dass lines that I learned is, are you identifying with that which has already been created, that which is already manifested? And that's kind of victim energy.
Yeah.
Or are you identifying with the creator as the creator?
Yeah.
And that's the creative energy. And I
Yeah.
have noticed anytime I, can toggle into the creative energy, it's like, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's when I'm in that paralyzed place of like, I'm still sort of feeling that victim energy and I'm stuck.
Yeah.
But then once I start creating,
Well, it's so
I feel this light and this energy come through
Yeah.
me.
it's easy. It's really easy to get in that victim mindset. It's so easy.
I know.
And it's
that's part of
weird.
that's part of our humanness, I think.
Yeah,
That,
because
that part of us that will die, the ego part.
But it's when if something bad happens, right? Like if you have a pet pass away or a family member pass away, and you're feeling that. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. I don't know how to navigate it. But when you go, oh, I lost my relative, and people go, oh my God, that love and energy is what you want on a day. That's what everyone wants. I think we all thrive for that. But you get that so effortlessly when you're in a time of need. And I think sometimes people become addicted to that, where then they're like, oh,
That's
this
right.
or this. And
Yes.
You learn, oh, if I'm sad, people will give me the love that
Like a sympathy
I
addiction.
yeah.
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 Yeah. That's a weird trap. That's a weird trap that we can't just say, hey, I want to go from here up to here
Yeah.
now, and go, oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God, you're
right.
creating,
Right.
let's do that Reiki, Ozark Reiki up in here. Can we do some trauma? Do we need to do some traumedy?
Well, I do want to tell you about this lady.
That's
real
what I'm
quick.
saying.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the traumedy around, let's talk about what happened and then see if we can work on a
Yeah.
little funnies to help get that energy out of your body.
So there are a couple of things. One, when I got up on, the weird part about this whole thing, this woman started following me on Instagram 2 days before the show. Then I show up. I don't recognize it's her until later, but her and her friend are in the front row. So it's kind of cool. I didn't realize that she had kind of been disruptive for the comics before me. Did not.
Right. Because that room, you're at the blue room.
Yeah.
It's kind of if you're way in the back, you can't really see. It's a pretty deep, long room. Anyway.
One of my favorite jokes, and I use this all the time at the blue room, is when it's a little quiet or it's lower, because you can hear the cars leaving above you.
Oh.
Like when they're driving off, they hit the little speed bump in the parking garage because the club's about under it. You're saying, clearly you've never had a bad show.
I was like, well, maybe I'm just hard of hearing, but I don't recall.
But there's a point, sometimes on the late shows where you're sitting there talking and you hear someone either leaving the movie theater that's parked there or something, and you just hear dum dum. Oh. And I'm always like, man, it's one thing to bomb a joke. It's extremely humbling to hear the audience member drive away.
Bump.
So I got up on stage and I noticed that the other comics, there was a stool that was sitting it was right to their right, which unfortunately was right in the eye view of these two elderly people to my right. So when they introduced me, I got up there, and the first thing I did was I said hello, and then I grabbed the stool and I just slowly moved it to the back. And then I looked at the two elderly people and I was like, now why did they put you in stool jail? You guys look like good people. You paid money, you're up front, and now you just got to look through a stool. So that was, kind of getting started, and did that, started with the material. This woman to my left now is just every couple of minutes she's saying something. And I'm like, and then moving forward.
And stepping on punchlines, probably.
Stepping on punchlines.
Which is one of I just had a corporate a couple nights ago where my last line of the show, this woman stepped on and I'm like, okay. But they don't know, but they're ruining
she was
it.
So drunk.
They're ruining the timing. They're ruining another bit and another one.
Yeah. And it's getting to the point where I'll do something, she'll say something, and then audience members are starting to look at her. Now, this show, we only had one Friday because it was Black Friday, so they combined the two shows. And so I think the whole show was about an hour 15 maybe. Well, my portion of it was about an hour 15, hour 8. Maybe halfway through, I had done something that I thought was funny. And the way that I deal with hecklers, and I can't say that it's obviously successful, but a lot of times I try to make quick jokes or obvious little slams to kind of let them go, oh, I'm being a handful, or let them have the opportunity to make their own decision.
Right.
Give them a chance to right their ways.
If they weren't so drunk. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So at one point, I went to say something and the audience is looking at her and she's batting off, and I just went, yeah. And I started talking about my Wellbutrin, and I was like, I'm on 300 milligrams of Wellbutrin on a recommended dosage of 450. Is that a lot? And then there's more to it. And she goes, it's not. And I was like, at this point, I just grabbed the stool and slowly moved it over in front of her. And the audience lost it. And I was like, okay, I won. I did it
You put her in stool jail?
I put her in stool jail.
Yeah.
Which
brilliant.
It wasn't planned, but I was like, this is perfect.
your subconscious knew what to do.
Right.
Took care of you. You're like, I have got to.
Yeah.
She's not picking up on any of the verbal cues.
Right.
So I'm going to give her this visual. You're in stool jail.
Yeah. So I did that for a second. The audience laughed, and then I moved the chair back as if to go, because I also didn't want it to block the view of the other people.
Sure. It was,
So did that, thought I was successful, continue to keep working. She's battling me through the whole thing, and come to find out she's a psychologist. And at one point I was like, well, how do you know? And she goes, because I'm a clinical psychologist. And I was like, oh, A good one, I'm sure. Like these are my roasted them. And so I'm so close to the end of the show. Also, I want to admit this, like I have a dark side.
Okay.
Like, it's there. I mean, a buddy of mine called it Ray J.
Ray J. Yeah, and it takes a lot of prodding to get Ray J to come out, right?
Yeah.
A lot of repetitive
and
pokes.
Yes. And Zach has seen it. And he told me at one point, and because it just gets to that point where I'm boiling
It's like My
over.
Virginia Vengeance.
Yeah, and there's like a snap, and you just say something.
And that's it.
And it can be as easy as like, seriously, shut the fuck up. Like, you have ruined the show. And it's so mean that there is rebuilding that has to happen with me to deal with the audience. And Zach told me one time, he was like, yeah, it's like you're everyone's cool uncle and like you can jab and everyone's having fun. But then all of a sudden you snap and it's like, oh no, he just found out we scratched his Camaro. and so at this point, like I'm getting closer and closer to getting mad, but I'm so close to the end of the show that I can't snap.
Because there's no time to rebuild.
Right.
Okay.
So I get to the end of the show is over. And now I want to give my goodbye, my happy, like, you know, I hope you have had fun. And I just wanted to get to that. As I'm trying to do that, she keeps talking. And I'm like, ma'am, please. It's like, I'm just trying to do a thing. I was like, I'm so close to being done. And she's like, well, you could be done. And I was like, I'm this close to just walking off. Like, and I just grabbed my stuff and I went to walk off. And everyone kind of started to applaud and laugh. And then as I was going to commit and just leave, I was like, I can't do that. Like, the main juice worth squeezing from this thing, what's going to come from my heart is the last thing I have to say.
Yeah.
Which is this one
Your
thing.
life purpose.
Yeah. And I told her, I was like, less than 3 minutes. I was like, please just let me have this. And I told my goodbye thing and the joy and this and that. I said goodnight. And I said, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Have a happy holiday. Got the nice applause. It was great. Felt good. Went out, set my merch table up. And I should be better at trying to sell merch. I don't really care. Like, I love talking with people afterwards.
Yeah, the connection continues.
So we were doing that. I sold a couple things. Then I saw her and her friend talking to the other comic. And I apparently wanted to buy something. And so instead of getting in line, she just cut and got right. And immediately I was like, you don't care about anybody but you, whether it's the booze or not. So then she got in, they were laughing. And I think she was probably flirting with me. Like, what I've realized later on is she, in her mind, might have had this fantasy that she was going to follow me on Instagram. She was going to like some posts, sit up front, have a couple drinks. Then we were going to chat. And maybe we'd go out. And that's just my brain.
Well, but also life experience.
Yeah.
I mean, the signs sound like they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then she comes up and her and her friend are laughing. She also reminded me of an ex that used to just treat me like dog shit. And she was very much same type of essence. And that's probably why I did what I did. She was like, hey. And I was like, hey, like I didn't want to be mean. And in my head, I was doing this thing where I was like, this is a shirt sale. You're going to sell a shirt, move on. That's it. And she goes, sorry, I was talking so much. And I was like, yeah, it was kind of distracting. And she goes, well, I was helping. And I was like, okay, you absolutely were not doing that. Like,
and that's really what they think.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, okay, but okay, go ahead. Yeah.
And I was like, you absolutely were not doing that. And she goes, well, it could have gotten worse. And so now that was the point where I was like, oh, now she's trying to flirt. And she thinks that I'm going to go, oh, no, it's fine. You're cute and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, it could have. And it was getting real close to that point. Had it gotten much worse, just so that you understand, I was going to have you escorted out of the show. Like, you would have had to have left. And she goes, what? And I was like, hold on. You started this conversation. I would have had to have you removed, not because I dislike you, but because your behavior and my ADD doesn't work. Like, every time you interrupted me, I had to try to figure out where I was. I had audience members try to remind me where I was. Yeah. And even though I was dealing with you and we were making jokes, it wasn't what we wanted to do. And so basically, you had an opportunity and almost successfully ruined the show for every other person in that room that bought a ticket and drove out here tonight. And she looked at me, turned, and walked out. And then I immediately felt bad. And I told her friend, I was like, hey, I'm not trying to hurt her feelings, but
Trying to educate her.
right at this point, there were
Don't do
two
this to the
things.
next comic.
I also just didn't have the heart to lie to her face. And exactly, like if I'd have been like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. She came and did the next.
Yeah, come back next week and ruin the next show.
And then she's like, the comic last week said it was fine. And they're like, who was that? And they're like, AJ Finney. And then people are going, what are you doing? And all my cousins and my grandma are going, yup, you're not leading by example.
There we are, full circle.
Yeah. So I told her friend, and her friend was like, no, I'm sorry. She's had so much wine. And I was like, okay. Then I woke up the next morning and I looked at Instagram, and she had sent me that message that just said, you're mean as fuck. And that just, I don't think about it. I screenshotted it so I could show it to other people because I don't identify with that. Like, I'm not like I know comics that would get that and then they would repost it and go, look at this. Yeah. I was, whatever. I'm a sensitive person.
Yes, you are.
I like to create. I like people to share in happiness. But it infuriates me on the other side when someone is taking that away, right? You're taking that away from everybody. And I think what starts to make me mad is when I realize there's that dual mentality of like, I don't want to be mean to you, but also my grandma going, but you're letting them ruin it for every other person. So what's the right decision?
And it wasn't mean. You held a boundary. And that's where we get in, especially as, and I'm going to say me, as a recovering codependent, when I speak, it's just truth and hold a boundary. And people call that mean.
Right.
When actually she's projecting, she was mean.
Right.
AF.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
And it's just pure projection that she wanted to offload onto you.
Right. But as a psychologist, that's
I know.
the part.
Well, that's what makes it even worse.
Yeah, because my friend goes, oh, you've never had anyone tell you you're mean before, AJ? And I was like, not a psychologist.
That makes it even worse because she knows that impact and also probably knows your essence. If she's looked at you on Instagram, she knows your essence. She knows how sensitive you are. Just because she's a psychologist doesn't mean she doesn't use her powers for, I was going to say evil, but that's kind of evil.
Her own
but that's
good.
an evil. Like she planted a little seed in a sensitive man. Like, I want you to think about. I'm going to try to poison your joy.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to like. That does not belong to you in any way. Like, truly was her. It's hers.
Yeah.
To own.
And there was no response after that, right? And what I realized, because I did the math, I was like, Marciana, how far? It was 9 hours after when I read it. I was like, this had been posted 9 hours ago. When was that? And she goes, roughly right after the show.
Oh, she was still drunk.
Yep. When she walked out, she wrote that.
Yeah.
So
she was frustrated. You didn't.
I'm sure
you didn't choose me for your road date.
Right.
And, yeah.
And at the same point, I tried to justify it and be able to wash the uck off by going, well, you know what? Maybe this is the thing that she has to see and goes, maybe I shouldn't drink as much, or maybe, you know what I mean?
Or and what's there for you too? Because one of the things for me is I have such a hard time even letting people think ill of me. Like I want to win them over. I want to and I'm like that. And especially what, a lot of times we try to win over the exact people we should not try to win over. Like you know what I mean? It's just a bizarre, again, I don't mean to keep harping on codependency, but it really is a bizarre illness that it's like, oh, I can't let people not like me. I can't let people even hate me. Like I need to let people have whatever they need to have and not try to fix it, change it, or take it on either.
Yeah.
And that is
tough.
That is some work that I have to do.
I catch it a lot with things that I have figured out, right? Like, I mean, I unfortunately, I will do this with Marciana a lot, where it's like, if we're like riding bikes and then there's a process that I figured out, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe you should do this. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to expedite the process, where it's like, oh, well, you won't have to learn the hard way. And then I realized sometimes I just took the joy away of like
Yeah.
the struggle to get past whatever that part is, you know?
I used to have a Facebook page called Unsolicited Advice.
Yeah.
I need to try and re-up it because
Right.
it was a place to put all that.
Yeah.
You know, because again, in my recovery work is like we are not to offer unsolicited advice. And I do it all the time. And it's like, stop. I'm supposed to ask, hey, would you like a tip about this that I just learned? And this is the hardest part. And then if they say, no, thanks.
Oh, God. No. What am I going to do with this? I was ready.
But this is helpful.
Yeah.
And like you said, though, that's brilliant that, we're robbing somebody of their own discovery.
Yeah.
And the joy of that discovery. Yeah. And I hope I'm probably doing that with trauma. Like I'm robbing you of your own experience. But I don't know. I guess, but they can choose to listen to this or not, obviously.
Right.
And we're just sharing our experience.
Yeah.
I so appreciate you dropping in and being so vulnerable about your ketamine experience because, man, we don't want to deter or we can't prescribe. I mean, I'm not, but it's like that has helped you even with that worst journey. That was like the scariest thing you said.
Yep.
One of the worst or scariest.
It was the most, it was really scary.
The scariest thing you've experienced, but you'd still recommend it. Like you still are going back to do it again.
I went back and did it after that, like probably 3 months later or something. And I had talked about it a little bit on our podcast, and Zach was like, oh, you probably don't ever want to do that again. And I was like, no, I have to. That's the worst part is I'm not going to sit in this fear mentality. So I knew I had to go back into it.
And was it after that you got to meet Source?
So I had met the Source prior.
Okay.
The next time was really good and soothing, but I'd also realized that I had every time I'd gone in, I'd tried so much to even control it. Whereas like, I need this on the television. I need the lights doing this, and then so that last time I was like, oh, whatever. And that was where I realized I needed to open up to new experiences and not try to recreate what had happened the prior session and stuff. So
thank you so much for sharing all this. And I want people to go out, find AJ Finney. What's your Instagram?
It's at AJ_Finney, and you can find everything at AJFinney.com.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I want people to see you because you bring so much life experience and so much joy. And I love good old-fashioned storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that's that Irish heritage, that I love that. I love good old story. You do nice long-form stories.
And I love it. That's my favorite. I feel like it's that there's a comfort in it for me. Like, yeah, because I get all over the place.
Yeah, gather around the fire.
Yeah.
Hear a story.
Yeah.
So check out AJ Finney. Thank you so much. I had a sense that there was a lot to share here, and I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, thank you. This was a lot of fun.
I want to thank my guest, AJ Finney. Again, go to ajfinney.com. I want to thank his wife, Marciana Finney, who brought good vibes to the podcast, and we'll have her on another time. And again, I want to thank you, the listener, so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, being a part of the co-healing here on Traumedy. And tune in again. We'll see if a guest shows up for next week. If not, repeat listen to episodes. I get something different out of them every time I listen. So go back and listen. Scroll through, see if you find another episode that you may have missed. And remember, no matter what, keep laughing.